Welcome everyone to Spoiler Warning, featuring myself, Tom Colohue, and I've got the news everyone has been waiting for, at least a little bit. It's far from the biggest news and it's going to make a lot of you unhappy, but I do have news about the Wyatt Sicks. We also have plenty more in our headlines today to go through them. We will be talking updates on the schedules of Becky Lynch, Aleister Black and Rusev, as well as Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn and the Wyatt Sicks. We'll be talking the expected length of WrestleMania and how long we'll be live for it. We'll talk a little more about what's going on with Flair and Stratton, because there's a lot of confusion still about what's going on there. We're going to talk about WrestleVotes reporting on Stephanie McMahon's new podcast. We have a pretty big update as to the future of Paige, now known as Serea, well, she was in AEW, formerly known as Paige in WWE. We're talking Lex Luger and Sting. We have a bit more on Evolution 2, to seriously query, and we're also then going to talk about Dave Meltzer's reporting of what the WrestleMania card is going to be, which he of course has reported a week before WrestleMania. So, you know, doing great there, Dave. Doing great. So plenty of news to share, and I'll be sharing it all with you. We're trying to get to 50 likes as quickly as possible on the YouTube side. We've got 14 already. We've got nearly 50 people here. Make sure to hit that thumbs up as you come in. You can see a few people over on the TikTok side already as well. Welcome Erin, welcome Everton, welcome Khalid. Very good to see all of you already. And on the YouTube side, welcome Cal, welcome Juan, welcome Roy, welcome Brad. Welcome Chris and welcome Bam Bam. A few more people I want to say hi to, and I'll be sharing your comments and reading them out as we go. But I'm going to start with the big news, as it were, and that is updates on a number of wrestlers, including the Wyatt Sicks. Welcome Agent Harker, good to see you. So we will start with talking about Becky Lynch, Aleister Black and Rusev, all of whom are currently under WWE contract, though their contracts are not activated, essentially because right now, while it's been signed, they've not appeared on TV, and their contracts are not said to be activating until they are on TV. I expect all of them to return after WrestleMania. I've spoken at length previously about my expectations for Becky Lynch. Because there is a strong possibility of a heel turn coming for Seth Rollins, I want to keep an eye on this one because I suspect Becky may be returning as a heel and they're just waiting for the right moment for that. As regards Aleister Black, it is very storyline based. My expectation is that at WrestleMania, Rey Mysterio will take a serious beating from El Grande Americano, heralding the return of Aleister Black to defend his name. But there's also plenty more that could be involved here. Rey Fenix, Penta. The intention seems to be to have Aleister Black working by and large in and around the luchador section, which would certainly lead to some very good matches if you ask me. As regards Rusev, creative is still very much working on it. We're not quite there yet, but I'm told he has signed with the WWE and will be debuting soon. Also, bit of fun, not something I expected to mention today, hit those likes, there was a pitch being made to try and tempt Ronda Rousey back to the WWE. But this pitch isn't believed to have gone very far. It's believed there's quite a lot of pushback to the idea, and it was largely abandoned as a result of it. Kevin Owens has been removed from the roster entirely for the time being, whereas Sami Zayn very much still occupies future plans, which is a good sign for his contract negotiations. Out of the three I've mentioned there, Becky Lynch, Aleister Black and Rusev, who are you most excited to see make their WWE return? This brings us now to the update on the Wyatt Sicks, and you guys know I've been essentially mining this for a long time, trying to find as much information as I can from sources who've proven very reliable in the past as regards Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt Sicks. So, for the Wyatt Sicks, I'm told that there have been so many plans and almost all of them ignored entirely. There was always a possibility and always an option for the Wyatt Sicks to be on TV this entire time, regardless of any potential injuries. The WWE did want them involved. However, it was believed that the Wyatt Sicks were not willing to work as separated entities. The Sicks and creative simply can't sync up on what they want to do. So there's been options ignored both from Wyatt Sicks and from the creative team, as well as from Triple H. There is a number of disagreements that are said to be becoming very difficult for everyone involved, and there are people who are simply finding it very, very unfulfilling to work with each other. Because this is continuing to take longer and longer, big name wrestlers who wanted to work with the Wyatt Sicks are unfortunately becoming less and less available. Alexa Bliss, Braun Strowman and Randy Orton are said to have tried to make themselves available, as well as a number of others that I can't mention at this point, but Triple H is said to be eager to move the Wyatt Sicks towards the bloodline, something Bo Dallas is said to not be keen on. The WWE continue to pitch storylines, the Wyatt Sicks continue to pitch storylines. We are nowhere near breaking the deadlock, but they will continue to do so in case they can change some minds. The Wyatt Sicks, I'm told, there's been so many plans from both sides, and both sides are guilty of ignoring the other. Plenty more news to come. We're already up to 96 people on the YouTube, but only 32 likes. 18 more gets us up to the 50 I'm aiming for to start this show, and then we'll start pushing towards further. Everton says WrestleVotes are saying that Drew McIntyre is injured legitimately. Any chance the match at Mania is in doubt? No, because he's not injured legitimately. He does have an eye injury. He's wearing an eye patch. However, that's not anywhere near enough to drop him from WrestleMania match. Tim says, I feel like Becky Lynch might be the Raw after Mania. And Everton says, this is what happened with Bray and the guy we don't name. And he got released a few months after. It's exactly what happened. I was reporting on that the entire time. And as much as I didn't want to be right, unfortunately, here we are with this one. Marcel says, hi Tom and chat. Welcome Marcel. I'm going to catch up with the YouTube chat now, but I still want your thoughts on the Wyatt Sicks. Are you expecting them, and who do you think should essentially back down on this one? The creative team or the Wyatt Sicks? Rory Farmer, thank you for bringing this in, says the betting odds suggest Nick Aldis will face Randy Orton at WrestleMania 41. Also says that Josh Matthews was working backstage in AEW. Sean says, hello Tom. Welcome Sean. And Roy says, do you think Natalya will win NWA's Crockett Cup? I think she would not be a bad shout for it, given her level of experience. Sean says, hello to Michael, which I always quite enjoy. Hello Sean. I always like it when you guys talk amongst each other, and it does really genuinely help the chat rate. So please do remember to say hi to each other, even if you don't get a response. It does my channel and my growth the world of good. Hello Michael as well. Leon says, hi Tom, hope you're doing well. Doing very well, thank you Leon, welcome to the show. And Calvin says, hello Tom, welcome, hope everyone's doing well as well. Good to see you Irish as well. Dawn says, afternoon Tom and everyone. Afternoon Dawn, wherever you may be. Sean says, this is from Fightful. Kelly has signed a Legends deal with WWE. Good news, does allow them to essentially take advantage of her branding. And also thank you for sourcing Sean. KJ says, what's up Tom? What's up KJ? Entertainment says, hey everyone. Hello Entertainment. And Bailey says, welcome all. Welcome Bailey. Erin says, hey Tom and chat, hope you all are having great days and evenings. Welcome Erin, good to see you. Everton says, can't wait for the tag team of Cero Miro. Can't roll my R's, do apologise, but I don't hate that as a concept. Flipper and a puncher. I could dig it. Thank you Daniel, appreciate you. KJ says, do you have an update on Roxy? Like, was she ever going to face Bailey at Mania? It was always being considered. It was, pardon me, never confirmed. Simply never confirmed. Hey Kelly, good to see you. Sid says, will we see Edge and Christian versus FTR? Seems almost like destiny, doesn't it? Cal says, hey Tom, hope you're great. I'm hoping the Wyatt Sicks news is good. Well, having just had it, Cal, what did you think of it? Wrestler Fan says, will the SmackDown tag titles be defended at Mania 41? More on that shortly. Welcome Metal Mama. Noob says, hello Tom, how are you doing today? Doing well, thank you. Do you see a return of Asuka? Yes, but not now. Not now. Everton says, I'm guessing it's very slim that we see Phoenix at Mania. It is. Very slim indeed, unfortunately. But not everyone can make the card, and they were putting the card together before they knew they had him. For the IC Fatal 4-Way, I'm kind of leaning towards Dominic, to be honest. KJ wouldn't mind Ronda. Chris is most excited to see Rusev's return. Metal Mama also says, please let it be good. What did you think, Metal Mama? KJ's most looking forward to the return of Becky Lynch. Ashley Watson, much the same. Robin Dave says, hey Tom, how you doing? Doing well, thank you. Joey says, hey Tom as well, welcome. Hello Daz, how you doing mate? Mr. Sim says, Chris Jericho is done with Ring of Honor. Will he return to WWE? No, because he's under contract to AEW and not Ring of Honor. Bailey says, would like to see a combative Becky Bailey tag team along the line of Team Hell No. Wouldn't hate it, but they do love each other. They genuinely love each other and they don't even hide it. Irish Need says no time soon. Fantastic. I'm not going to sit and say no time soon because the pitches still are coming thick and fast, but I cannot sit here and promise you it's going to be anytime soon, so I'm not going to. You guys know me. I'm simply not going to say anything which I can't back up. Joey says, why did the New Day versus the War Raiders get added to Mania over the SmackDown tag titles? I do have something on that a little later. Oh, so many chats, mate. Love it. Sean says, Alexa isn't going to be back anytime soon then. Alexa is right now not directly connected to the Wyatt Sicks. Jordan says, good evening, Tom. Hope you're well. Unfortunately, it feels like deja vu with the Wyatt Sicks. Unfortunately, I don't disagree with that one. We are seeing history repeat itself. One says, according to SRS, he believes Blair Davenport, aka B. Priestley, will return to AEW. He also said she'll be the first to return after leaving AEW for WWE. Thoughts? And you looking forward to Aleister Black returning the most. I think there's going to be a lot of people returning to AEW. A lot of people. Because the WWE, by and large, don't want much more. Happy birthday, or happy advanced birthday, Kelly. Always good to hear. Joey says, is Alexa Bliss's absence from TV related to the Wyatt Sicks? No, not in any way. Daz, the contracts for Copeland and FTR are relatively new. They last a few more years yet. Hello, Eric. Cal says, it seems similar with the issues Bray had. I think the creative team should give in. The Wyatt Sicks have so much potential to be a big faction. I just think there's so many feuds there, e.g. Miz and Karrion Kross. Michael says, the Wyatts are right up WWE Sports Entertainment alley. I don't get why they can't work anything out. There just seems to be constantly butting heads. Khalid says, I'd not mind seeing Ronda Rousey make a return, but hyped for Rusev and Aleister Black. Also hopes that the Wyatt Sicks come back stronger. Hello, Ishii. Just in time, just in time. Bailey says, of all the NXT talent about to come up and the creative impasse you described, does WWE eventually pull the plug on the Wyatt Sicks as an idea who just never took hold? Unfortunately, that is exactly what happened with Bray Wyatt. Basically, for years, he only ever wanted to tell one story. He started that story about 5 times. He never got to finish it. Never got to finish it. Ishii, I wouldn't say it's over, no, but zip back and you'll get all the news there. I was hoping you didn't miss this one of all the ones. Christopher Leclerc says, who wins the women's tag team gauntlet match tonight on SmackDown? My predictions are Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Pardon me. Triple H is very eager to get Bayley onto the card, so I'd expect that to be the case, yes. How do, Kieran? Good to see you, mate. Martha says, about time Kelly got a Legends contract. And this is Kelly, not Kelly the Wise Lady, I'm sure you mean. Metal Mama says, maybe if they were just honest to some extent instead of stringing us along. I don't know. It hurts. I love the Wyatts. It's creative problem. Sadly, that's their job. Just saying. Joey says, do you know if Nick Aldis will face Randy at Mania? No, I don't know that one way or the other. Sean says, I don't think Julia turned heel on NXT this week. She is listed as a tweener. Says who, Sean? Who's your source for that one? Kelly says, creative should back down. They flopped in the storyline department. They're doing what they did to Bray. Let the Wyatt Sicks tell their story their way. The story of Karrion could have been epic. Yeah, they dropped the ball with that. What creative is doing is not working. Cal says, I'm not surprised with the Wyatt Sicks news. They failed Bray and they're doing it again. Ashley said, is Carrie saying close to a return? Closer than Asuka, but still not necessarily close. Cal says, do you think we'll see them back? It depends what you mean by who. Eric says, could you see Ludwig doing an open challenge for Mania and Rusev or Aleister answering? No, that would mean that Triple H gave him permission to go on the Mania card with no opponent. Ludwig Kaiser ain't that guy. Joey says, do you know what the plan is for Rey Fenix? Will he get a long singles run or reunite with Penta after Mania? The intention seems to be to push the tag team rather than singles competitors, at least to start with. Chris says, Six News is disappointing. Hopefully they find common ground soon. Cecil says, it doesn't matter if in my opinion, if the Six back down, they will do something they want to believe in. And if creative back down, management want to push it. So I believe we eventually feed them to Bloodline. KJ says, sorry that I keep asking about it, but any reason why they didn't go with Roxy versus Bayley? But last time asking about them, I don't know. I'm genuinely not sure on that one. And then he also says, chicken and Christmas to feed that chat rate. And I appreciate you, KJ. You get it. You really can't spam. You really can't. You're just feeding it. You're just feeding it. Literally. If anyone's watching, just type the words chat rate. I'd appreciate it. And this is transferable. If you go to other lives, like I know many of you go to Daisy's live, the more you chat, the faster the chat rate goes, the more people find it. Just type chat rate. Ooh, where am I? Paul says, what match at WrestleMania 41 are you most looking forward to? The triple threat, the Seth versus Punk versus Reigns match. Definitely, 100%. KJ says, Randy Orton's Mania match something you're covering? Don't have any news to share, unfortunately. Metal Mama says, I'm really disappointed with creative stringing us along. Have patience, because they didn't do their job figuring out a way to do a story. I mean, look at the last match with FT and Powder. Wrestler fan, I can see you asking again, but as I said already, it will be covered a little later. I've got news on it. I just don't have any news to share on it right now. Sean says, Ronda to AEW or Ring of Honor? No intention in hiring Ronda from either of those. Everton says, John Cena confirmed for SmackDown next week and Clash in Paris at August 31st. Also said, get Cena with Punk or Styles in Paris. That would feed generations. Everton, as regards Heyman's favours, we'll see how they play out. Blue says, hi Tom. Hi Blue. I feel like the Wyatt's biggest problem is the same with Bray. This is pro wrestling. The story and characters need to work in pro wrestling. Joey says, does Triple H want the Wyatt Sicks to wrestle right away instead of doing a long-term story? Both. He wants them to be able to wrestle while telling a story. Bam Bam, I've shared what I can on Miro. As regards Rusev, I would expect him to be shortly after WrestleMania. The other Mike says, I say just pull the plug. No disrespect, but neither of the members are as good as Bray, so I'm siding with creative. Kelly says, I do not want to see them feuding with Bloodline. I'm assuming they mean Solo, Jacob and the Tongas, because the other Bloodline is on Raw. Metal Mama says, Bloodline makes no sense. They can't even make them look good against Alpha. Haters for them and for fans and Bray's legacy. Kieran says, I just never fully understood what the Wyatt's point was. All that build-up was on social media and never translated onto TV. One says, did Serea getting released by AEW have anything to do with her going on a podcast saying I love WWE 24/7 while under contract? No. Metal Mama says, Cena could turn face again at some point. It's very unlikely right now. I definitely don't see that happening. He will retire as a heel. His last match, I think, will be wrestled sort of as a tweener to not tarnish the legacy, but he'll be a heel until the end of it. Yeah, I never love delivering this news, but we are where we are. Blue says, Roxanne having nothing to do WrestleMania weekend sucks. I agree. Cal says, to be fair, there's a church near the arena for Mania called We Are Here. Just feels the perfect night to bring them back. Ooh, and Eric says, Liv and Raquel are going to be on Hot Ones. Love it. A lot of people type in chat rate. Love you guys. Always wonderful. We have 111 people watching. That's the result of the chat rate right there. 48 likes. 2 more guesses to that 50. We can get 2 more. We can get 2 more. Joey says, do you think we'll see a new version of the House of Black? No. Oh, will Aleister go back to his NXT gimmick? No. Sig says, what about Bo against Randy at Mania? No intention to my knowledge. It would be very out of nowhere. Matter says, when will Nathan Jones go into the Hall of Fame? Over the Undertaker's dead body. Paul says, WWE dropped the ball when they let Toni Storm leave. She's the best character in AEW. I agree, but the WWE wouldn't have let her play that character, and also she wouldn't have been able to, given the PG rating. There are words she likes to say, which are not popular, but they're very popular. Sean says, I'd like to see WWE do with Randy like they did with Seth when Cody returned, but Aleister returns and faces Randy. Sick Horror Kingman says, I'd love to see Randy Orton versus Aleister Black, but it might be too late for that with WrestleMania next weekend. Smurfy says, who do you see winning between Cody and John Cena? I'm in the minority. I have Cody retaining. Don says, I know it's not true, but I have thought Becky was pregnant again. Her return has changed so much and another little one will be super cute. Don't think the cuteness of a potential little one is a reasoning that I'm going to believe. She'll return when she's ready to return. Sean says, Monday has come and gone and no Evolution announcement. We will be discussing that. CSC says, curious, our current women's mid-card champs Lyra and Chelsea. Who would you see Triple H eventually booking to dethrone them if you were able to guess? I don't believe they planned that far ahead. I just don't. Paul says, are you a fan of Thunderstorm in AEW? Loving it so far. Anything Toni Storm does is amazing. Christopher says, Alexa Bliss won't be completely at WrestleMania for the 5th consecutive time. I'd imagine that's competing. She will, in fact, be there. Sid says, the YouTube stream is going perfect. Thank you, Sid. Always appreciate you. Proud Dad just joining, dropping a ton of likes, and leaving a heart. Thank you very much, Proud Dad. Welcome to the show. I can feel the pride getting through. You're probably more proud of me than my actual dad, wherever he may be. 1,100 likes on TikTok already. Thank you to everyone watching and supporting there. 123 people watching now. That's chat rate. That's all those likes coming in. We're already up to 56. Keep that going if you want the channel to keep growing. Keep going and keep growing. Dad says, do you see Rey Mysterio having a match at Mania? Yes, and that should be announced soon. Ishi says, did you say there's more news soon about Wyatt Sicks? I said what I've already said, the news I've already shared. Rewind, Ishi. KJ says, Roxy is doing something Mania weekend on Stand and Deliver. It was teased this week on NXT. Nothing's been confirmed yet. Carl says, I think the Wyatts will come back, but it's when it's taking forever, just sort something out when they agree, basically. Carl says, I'm really looking forward to the Mania watch-along, which gives us a lovely pivot into the next thing I want to talk about. WrestleMania is long. The planned amount of WrestleMania that we get to watch this year is 18 hours worth. And also, more accurately, 8 hours worth. The plan for WrestleMania from the WWE is 4 hours each night, meaning 7 or 8 matches because of Triple H's typical half an hour per section. We all know about it. Anyone who's watched a watch party here knows full well that when it comes to Triple H, he likes a half hour per segment and to essentially break it down like that. The match itself will be 18 to 20 minutes, then you'll have entrances and you'll have backstage segments. WWE's listing each night of WrestleMania as a 9-hour event, starting at 9 p.m. in the UK. The main show would start at midnight in the UK and finish at 4 a.m. and there would then be a 2-hour post show. Now, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. 3 hours of pre-show, not something I'm likely to watch. 2 hours of post-show, definitely not something I'm going to watch. So, we will go live with 1 hour of pre-show left. We will be live for 5 hours each night because, seriously, at some point, I'm going to need to use the bathroom. 5 hours. We will be going live an hour before WrestleMania technically begins, and we will end when WrestleMania does. Hopefully people will be hosting post shows, at which point I can do a raid and you can find people to watch. That's everything we'll be doing. Hopefully you guys are excited. It's been a while since I've had a Mania watch party, and honestly, it just feels like it's going to be fun. Khalid says, I'm definitely not watching the kickoff show. I do not blame you. Do not blame you. Ishi, you're asking for news on the Wyatt Sicks. I've already shared news on the Wyatt Sicks. I'm not going to sit here and tell you every single detail, because even if I did, you tell me I'm wrong and it needs to change. That's not how this works, mate. I share everything I can. Ooh, Matter, I get what you're saying. KJ says, I wish Adam Cole would come back to WWE. I wonder if he wanted out, would Tony extend him to let him go like the recent guys? Nothing I can share on that one. Nothing I can share there. Wrestler Fan says, have you seen the construction for the WrestleMania 41 stage and do you expect a stage reveal? Yes, I do. That should be on X. Erin, I do think when it comes to the gauntlet match, the most obvious choices would be Bayley and Lara Valkyria. After all, Triple H is always eager to get Bayley on the card. Everton says, my dream tag match is a freeway Motor City Machine Guns versus the Usos versus the Lucha Bros. House is going well, Paul. We've got one room almost fully decorated. It's only taken us nearly a year. This room's not bad now, though. I've got a punch bag, and for WrestleMania, I'll be over in that corner, which by then will also be painted, behind me. I've just got to fill all the holes, and my God, there's a lot of holes. A lot of holes. Alright, Kingman says, who do you think the next AEW star to go to WWE? I know some. I want to hear if you will say the same names. I'm still refusing to look past Samoa Joe. Refusing, point blank. Hey, Ricky, good to see you, mate. Eric says, do you see the Hardys being one of the big names for the Hall of Fame next year? I don't know if it'll necessarily be next year, but I definitely see the Hardys being inducted into the Hall of Fame. WWE have wanted to do that for a long time. Thank you, KJ. I thought it had been confirmed, but the question confused me a little bit. Carmelina says, do you think Jimmy is going to be there at Mania for Jay? Yes, I do think so. Clyde says, caught you live. Hope all is well with you and everyone in the chat. Like button has been smashed. Everyone watching should do the same. Take care, Tom. Thank you, Clyde. Appreciate you dropping in and saying hi. The shows are doing really well at the minute. I'm going to talk about that a little more later once we've got through a bit more of our news. But I do just want to point out the shows have been going really well, and I do owe all of you thank you for making that happen. TikTok continues to grow. We're approaching 1,000 followers there, whereas over on YouTube, while the subscriber number is holding firm or going down slightly, that is because the shorts are not something we're focusing on. We've changed how we're doing things a little bit. The actual live shows are getting great views, and I'm thrilled with how we're growing. Corey says, hey Tom, any updates on AJ's contract? Not at this point in time, unfortunately. I do expect, given that he's in a WrestleMania match with Logan Paul, that he has signed on the dotted line. That's just my opinion, though. So I wouldn't be surprised if they announce something after WrestleMania, but I've not heard anything to confirm at this point. Ooh, Corey's hearing rumours that AJ might go to AEW. Not something I've heard myself. Paul says, will Jordynne Grace be the next NXT Women's Champion? Nothing has been promised, but I wouldn't be surprised if she had a very strong push. Blue says, an hour pre-show is still more than I'm going to watch. Fair. Bailey's asking for my beverage of choice during the WrestleMania watch party. Not sure. Might do a poll. Might let you guys decide. You guys can decide what I should... In fact, let's do that. Let's start a poll. Add a few more options. We'll do 4 options. What drink should I have for the WrestleMania watch party? You know what the first option is going to be. It's always the same. That. Ooh, what else we got? What are some good options? What do I normally drink? Ooh, no. Yellow Fanta. And see if you go with that one. Let's start that poll and see what people make of it. Don't tempt me with tequila, Sarah. Don't do that. Why would you do that? You should know better. Never tempt me with tequila. Yeah, Proud Dad, one of the options is indeed Cherry Coke. The options are Cherry Coke, Iron Brew, Yellow Fanta, and good old-fashioned whiskey. Already 23 votes. I don't know how to do polls on TikTok. That poll at the moment is just live on YouTube. Cal says 10 hours, we are cooking. Joey says, do you have any news on what Miro will do when he returns? As I say, creative plans are still currently being put together and pitched to him. Ishii, once again, just rewind. Your question has already been answered. Hurricane Man says, I'm close to Conan and told me some AEW wrestlers who are going to WWE. Cool. Ricky says, do you see Paul screwing Roman at Mania? No. And do you see Roman on his own going forward? No. I think it's all smoke and mirrors. It's only smoke and mirrors. Cal thinks Karrion Kross was absolutely fumbled. Everton is voting for Iron Brew over on the other side. Very much people behind Cherry Coke. Not surprised. It is a drink of kings. Blue Sky still doing well, Roy. I appreciate the question. I'm starting to use it a little more, but I've got to say, Blue Sky is not necessarily a place for WWE stuff. So I'm sort of leaning towards the good old-fashioned politics again, and I'm enjoying it. Chris said, Samoa Joe said on Chris Van Vliet he was fired by WWE twice and won't be the last time. Noob says, everyone on X is assuming the Kabuki Warriors are coming back, when in reality the obvious choice is Bayley and Lyra. Maybe a huge fan of Asuka, it's way too soon for her to come back. Paul says, will the pre-show be on Netflix? It will be on YouTube, I believe. I don't know if we'll be live on Netflix with the pre-show. I don't believe they will be. Marcel says, do you think there's a possibility of The Rock and Stone Cold appearing at Mania? Yes, no. Angel says, Tom, do you think Randy will get involved in the main event? Asking since he can create a big moment with Randy turning on Cody and helping Cena win the belt. I don't see that, no. KJ suggests Cherry Coke. Erin says Cherry Coke is a classic. Oh, congratulations, Eric. Good news. Cal says a certain wrestling journalist said on Twitter he has Wyatt Sicks news. I have a feeling this journalist will be watching. Spoiler warning. Yeah, you know who it is. We all know. Ooh, whiskey and cherry coke is a good shout. KJ, what I would do is drink responsibly. Eric says, what's Iron Brew? That is a big question with a lot of answers. No, backwards. We did that one time. Didn't go well. CFC says the real question is what's the best snack to have while watching Mania at 1 a.m. I won't be doing snacks. There's no good chance for it. Daz, I'm not sure on the Hall of Fame as of yet. Joey says, would you run streams on Twitter during Mania? No, because I haven't used Twitter in almost 4 months. Like, if you want to get hold of me, Twitter is not the way to do it anymore. It's just not. Joey says, do you know what the match card rundown will be for both nights? No, but I know that Dave Meltzer has reported what he thinks it's going to be. Paul, I don't know as regards Miro. There are still some things to iron out. Horror Kingman says, how long till you're done fixing up the new house? Any colour you're thinking about? Probably about 5 years. Probably about 5 years. Ooh, Blue doesn't know what journalist it is. Who's clearly read my title. Cal, let him know. Let him know. Ooh, Matter, that's a horrible and accurate thing to say. Bailey says, thankfully no one has suggested real American beer, even WWE is done with it, for a damn good reason. 118 people watching, 65 likes, keep hitting that thumbs up. We have 48% of the vote for Cherry Coke. I'm interested to see how the rest are doing. Only 9% for Iron Brew, 11% for Yellow Fanta, 35 for Whiskey, 46 votes already. Next up. So everyone is still talking about Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton, and there's a reason for this. The WWE want them to. This has been co-opted. I've shared what news I have. Nothing has changed in that time, so let me clarify what's going on. Meltzer has waded into the argument to blame Charlotte Flair. Fightful have waded into the argument to say they're both being blamed, but nobody is. And WrestleVotes are saying Stratton was warned it would go off script. Now, if you're annoyed because it went off script and you were told it's going to go off script, what the hell? Let me clear this up by re-reporting. There was no clear script. Charlotte Flair was unhappy with how she trampled on Stratton in the online face-to-face segment that they did in different rooms, a split screen. She wanted to create some opportunity for Stratton to fire back and encourage Tiffany Stratton to give me all you've got. Unfortunately, when Tiffany Stratton did just that, she got in trouble. When Tiffany Stratton did just that, Charlotte Flair got in trouble for reacting the way that she did. Overreacting is what she's being accused of. However, they are still wrestling at WrestleMania, and there's not believed to be any problem between the two of them. In fact, the only people who believe that there is a problem between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton is wrestling journalists. Which suggests to me that the WWE are now planting stories to ratchet up the tension going into the match. Yes, it got personal. Yes, that beef was squashed. Yes, it makes the match that much more worth watching. The WWE know exactly what they're doing. Jam says, just joined the chat. Have I missed any Wyatt Sicks news? Yes, you have, Jam. Rewind about half an hour. It was our top story. It's all there. By all means, check it out. Thank you for directing their Blue as well. KJ says, is it possible Big E costs a New Day at Mania? Found out that the Raw tag titles made Mania and not the SmackDown side. Unlikely that would be a heel move. Screwing over a heel is still a heel move. It's the strangest thing. Paul says, were you a fan of Sweet Sapphire, Dusty Rhodes' manager? Didn't watch during that time, unfortunately. Cal says, I have a feeling they're playing us all. Both of them are secretly allowing us to believe there's heat. Perfect build-up. If anything, the one who got burned the most was Ludwig Kaiser. Disagree, because he was able to deny it accurately. He stood by his woman. No Paul have not played 2K25. Bam says, what do you think of seeing this heel run for now? Love it. Absolutely love it. It's going brilliantly. And Eric says, why are Lyra and Bayley a team? Mutual respect, and also they need more teams. In the end, it always comes down to they just need bodies. We are this close to 3,000 likes on TikTok. Proud Dad is nailing that button. For anyone unaware, on TikTok, if you are watching where we're live, you can just double click and it just keeps hitting that like. They just keep going. They just keep going. So we've just hit 3,000. Thank you, Proud Dad, and thank you everyone else who has dropped a like so far. The TikTok side, we do have quite a few people joining now, that we are starting to build a little bit of momentum over there, and hopefully around WrestleMania time that does continue. A little bit about what the plan is over the next few days for the channel, particularly YouTube. TikTok, we will continue with the short form content. We are looking for more and sourcing more as we go over the next few days. You will see a lot more arriving on TikTok. For YouTube, similar situation. On Sunday, so in 2 days, we will be recording and uploading another fake news breakdown, the wrestling receipt as it were. We will be examining all of the wrestling news which turned out not to be true. So on Sunday, I think you might be enjoying what we're putting up there. We will then, of course, have our show on Monday, spoiler warning, and then on Wednesday, we will see the return of PLE Wednesdays as we do last minute news and spoilers going into WrestleMania. Beware of spoilers there. So there'll be a video on Sunday breaking down the false reporting and fake news of March and the beginning of April, because I think after WrestleMania there'll be a whole load of new fake news to examine. And then after that on Wednesday, we will have PLE Wednesday returning so that we can basically go through all of the spoilers and news going into WrestleMania. Next piece of news then. WrestleVotes. So WrestleVotes, who of course have waded into the conversation about Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. They have also said that the WWE are going to push Stephanie McMahon's new podcast hard. They are, of course, referring to the podcast that WWE has already been pushing hard for weeks. Cheers? I wouldn't possibly have been able to work that one out. An update on Serea now, formerly known as Paige in WWE. She's just left AEW and she's examining her options. So we've got a pretty significant update here as to the intentions. Serea, formerly known as Paige, is said to have spoken to WWE wrestlers, particularly women's wrestlers, about the likelihood of coming back into the fold. She's working with a number of people who work in adjacency to WWE. She's mentioned, for example, working with Natalya in the dungeon, as it were, with training and preparation. She needs to prove to WWE and to other promotions that her neck is not so damaged that she can still go. However, the WWE are still not happy with the situation. Word has reached Triple H that Serea has been asking about coming back into the fold, but from the best I can tell, WWE aren't that interested. And Nick Khan isn't happy with how she left the company in the first place. I'm told Serea plans to make herself available to WWE in the hope of ingratiating herself back into the good books. This essentially is the same way CM Punk made his way back to the WWE. He used a wrestling journalist to create demand and to encourage WWE to look on social media and say, hey, everyone wants CM Punk back, so now so do we. We are seeing a lot of stories right now about Serea, about Paige as she was, and about the WWE. They're trying to manufacture this. They're trying to create a situation whereby the WWE needs Serea. We have 135 people watching. We are 5 off the peak of 140 that we hit last week. If you haven't hit like, now's the time. If you haven't, and even if you did, write chat rate earlier, now's the time to do it again. We are this close to going above that 140. If you're able, please do consider it, because right now the poll is boosting us. So vote on the poll, type in chat rate, hit like if you haven't. Let's see if we can get that over the line. Mike, mostly curtains, funnily enough. Bam says, is Rusev going to return as Redeemer? Not to my knowledge at this point. Blue says, of the Triple H Manias, where do you think this one stands in terms of build? Triple H is not a strong builder. He's a strong deliverer. Very strong deliverer. Cal says, WrestleMania weekend is like Christmas. Eric says, I would have brought a team up from NXT to take that spot. Chemical X to be specific. Oh, Pete, sorry to hear that. Says, audio is out of sync for me. Tried restarting, but I'll get by. Appreciate you trying to push on. Is anyone else experiencing audio sync issues? If you do, let me know. If you're not, let me know. Are you experiencing any audio sync issues? Yeah, Blue. They're very much they're very much not wrong, are they? Paul says, I hope WWE bring the best theme music back, written in my face. KJ, to clarify on this one, says, how would Nick Khan be mad about how she left? They let her go and that was it. They let her go because during the pandemic, when the expectation was that she'd be returning to work as a manager, she simply didn't come. So yeah. Bam says, what was the main problem for WrestleMania booking this year? Seems that a lot of good names on the roster are not going to be involved. There's a lot of matches that people aren't excited. Few things. Firstly, the wait. The extra couple of weeks has meant that they've had to drag out the stories a little longer than I would necessarily want, and that many necessarily want. But also, they reshuffled the card right at the beginning of the year. Right at the beginning. Blue says, I don't know why WWE would want Serea back. They have so much talent in the division now with the injury or personal issues. Sid says, I think if Serea doesn't go back to WWE, she will end up in TNA. Cal says, is there still people with heat against Punk, or is everything forgiven backstage? Everything's pretty much forgiven. Everyone's got on with their lives at this point. Juan says, I mean, AEW losing Serea doesn't really hurt AEW to the extent like Punk did ratings-wise. Kelly, chat rate, gotcha. So, chat rate, essentially what it comes down to is the more people are chatting and the more often people are chatting, the higher your chat rate. The higher your chat rate, the more YouTube thinks, hey, people are really enjoying this. So it pushes it out to more people. It's that simple. You can do this for anyone who's live. You can do it for anyone who's not live. Leave comments on every video. If you watch a video all the way through, leave a like, leave a comment. What you've done right there is massively boosted their reach and almost guaranteed that more people will find that video. It's just a little thing we do that really helps the growth of the channel, and I appreciate everyone who's jumping in and helping out. Okay, so a few people have some audio issues and a few people don't. That would suggest it's not on my side, but also quite a few people are getting it, so it might be. Interesting. Roy, Lana is not contracted to WWE at this point. KJ says, I think Paige will be back. She has a decent name and she can't hurt. Cal, haven't heard anything on Josh Alexander, but I don't have sources who would be able to do so. The other Mike says, where the hell is Britt Baker taking time off? Corey, I understand that you're worried. I've not been able to confirm anything either way. Razar says, the problem with WrestleMania this year is it feels like the launching pad for feuds rather than the culmination of the last year for storylines. I agree with that. The War Raiders versus New Day, Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest, to an extent, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. You're not wrong. Luke says, whiskey and cherry coke, but go easy on the whiskey. I always do. I'm a responsible drinker. If it's just a soft drink, I'd say I am brew. Kelly, you are a godsend. I genuinely mean that. So what YouTube will do is look at your watch history, right? It looks at the videos you've watched that are in your watch history. And if you really engage with one of them, what it will do is it will look at the videos you've watched, find other people who've watched the same videos, and wherever there's an overlap, it will then recommend my video to them. If a channel's not growing, it's because people aren't engaging. That's one of the reasons I love going live. Cal says, are you still enjoying wrestling, Tom? I remember you saying one of them enjoys the women's match. Right, okay. Yes, one of them very much still keen on watching all of the women's matches. The other one moved on a bit. Everton says, hopefully we see The Rock next Friday of SmackDown before Mania. I mean, I don't think anyone would be unhappy if John Cena was cutting his last promo and then The Rock interrupted him. Blue says, do you think we get Rusev Day back? No, because the second half of that tag team is no longer with us. WWE, I mean. That sounded real dark. Is no longer with the WWE. KJ says, I know you may try and be positive about it. I understand that. How do I feel about AEW Dynamite's average attendance this year? A little over 2.7k according to WrestleTalk. AEW know that their position on the card, as it were, is not main event. WWE still is. What I will say is they are still striving to deliver quality content, and by and large, they do. Thank you, Leslie. Appreciate you. Marta says, I hope you all get videos on dangerous Aussie animals because of my chat rate. Genuinely does happen. You guys will have to let me know if that does pop up. That'd be interesting. Kelly says, okay, well, I will keep commenting. Always think that they get annoyed with all my comments, but if I'm helping them, then I will comment away. Kelly, why do you think so many people here also see Wrestling Days? Because the fact is, many of you are engaging with it, which means it's looking in your chat history of Wrestling Days and then recommending my stuff to Wrestling Days viewers. If people in this chat watch a lot of WWE content, then my work will be shown to WWE fans as well. Blue says, Tom, when a wrestler takes time off, does it count against their contract time? It depends what's in their contract. Some of them have mandatory time off. Nowadays under Triple H, there is an actual leave system, so that helps. Bam says, do you still think Cody will retain at WrestleMania? Personally, yes, I do. Paul, 4 a.m. is a lot better than some of the years. WrestleMania 35 ended past 7 in the morning. Then I had to go to work. Cal says, how long do you think the Cody match will be? I'm expecting 10 to 25 minutes. About half hour. Yeah, I'm sorry too, KJ. Horrible. I was asked last week about the possibility of Sting inducting Lex Luger into the Hall of Fame. I reached out and I was able to get the following answer. Lex Luger has asked specifically for Sting to be one of 2 people inducting him into the WWE Hall of Fame. He's been open about this, and that's a quote from him. Triple H is said to be open to it, and contact will be made with AEW. Historically, Tony Khan is happy to say yes as long as his promotion is mentioned, and I'm confident a deal can come together. The WWE are no longer scared to say the words AEW, or should I say the letters AEW. And with that in mind, it essentially comes down to whether Tony Khan is willing to loan out Sting. I don't see a problem myself, and I suspect everything will be absolutely fine. Oh, Calvin says, hey Tom, sorry, gotta go. See you Monday. Got a feeling Nick is going to put his foot down and challenge Randy. Hope so, Calvin. I think that'd be a great match. Jermaine says, hi Tom, are you going to do a Rev Pro show to see Mercedes since she's wrestling next week defending the Rev Pro titles there? Unlikely. It involves a lot of travelling, and unfortunately, being a parent now, that simply isn't in my budget. Yeah, Tom Colohue, you don't make that much money nowadays because it all goes out. You've got the house, you've got the family, you've got trying to enjoy life. I did buy a punch bag, so admittedly, I am spending a lot of money on myself at the minute as well, so I can't really say otherwise. It's not a woe is me moment, guys. I enjoy life, and I'm enjoying it more and more lately because I'm really proud of what we're achieving with this house at the minute. We decorated a room, kind of. I don't know. I feel like I'm achieving stuff. I wired a light. I'm doing electrics now. Next up, I'm going to start doing plumbing. I'm not, because that's a very bad idea. But I could. But I won't. But I could. After having their reporting on Evolution 2 be proven incorrect, WrestleVotes have doubled down and said Serea will likely be on the card for the event, which hasn't been announced or even mentioned yet by anybody other than WrestleVotes. Now, it's not impossible that come tonight's show, the WWE announce Evolution 2, essentially just taking the opportunity to prove WrestleVotes wrong and then still getting their hit in. But WrestleVotes put their name on this. I say their name is WrestleVotes, so they didn't put their name on it, but you get what I mean. I did not necessarily expect an Evolution 2.0 announcement before WrestleMania. The WWE is full steam ahead announcing WrestleMania. But it'd be interesting if it was announced during WrestleMania, for example. WrestleVotes stuck their neck out, it cost them. It is another occasion when a Sportskeeda reporter has, I feel, over-reported. And Dave Meltzer has claimed that WrestleMania will feature the War Raiders versus the New Day for the Raw Tag Team Championships, but nothing from SmackDown's currently thriving tag team division. Now, I'm not going to lie, guys. That seems real silly to me. Real silly. I do feel as though that SmackDown tag division is absolutely flying and fully deserving of a number of them being featured. I expected ladders. I thought that was the ladder match and it was going to be amazing. But Dave Meltzer saying it's not even going to make the card. Very frustrating. I also think it's possible, though unlikely, that Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano will become mask versus mask. But if Aleister Black's involved there, I would say that they're going to take a step away and keep us from blowing our wad too early. Right, a little update as to what we're going to be doing with the channel one more time. 80 likes so far, brilliant number, thank you everyone. Nearly hit 400 views too, which is a great amount for a live. We tend to double when it comes to after the live as well, so appreciate that. Plenty of people watching on TikTok as well, 3.6 thousand likes, which is a great overall number and I very much appreciate it. On TikTok, over the next few days, up to and exceeding WrestleMania, we will have a lot more content coming your way. During the watch party, I will of course also be farming and sourcing TikTok content and trying to continue to grow our reach there. So I won't be live on TikTok during WrestleMania. That is just spoiler warning where we go live, but I will be sharing content there. If you want short form content, head on over to TikTok and you'll find plenty of it there. For YouTube, we will continue with spoiler warning Mondays and Fridays. On Sunday, this Sunday upcoming, we will be hosting a video detailing all of the news that has been reported wrongly since the beginning of March up until now. And then on Wednesday, we will see the return of PLE Wednesday as we go through the last minute news for WrestleMania. There will be spoilers galore, and I hope you enjoy them. Still a bit more to cover from your comments. Paul says, how far are you off reaching 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and qualifying a channel for the silver play button? About 90,000. We are this close to 10,000, but we're about 90,000 away from a silver play button. Bam Bam says, I'm sad Cena will not come out to Fugonomics. Okay, Sarah. Mean. On to say, Tom, since TK is now pulling pay-per-view events away from competing with WWE, didn't buy into the WWE bait. Does it show WWE that AEW has essentially given up? AEW has not given up. There is a difference between knowing what you can compete with and giving up. There are much bigger channels on YouTube. I'll use Wrestling Days as an example as well. They do great work. I can't compete with them. You know what I do? I don't try. I compete with myself. That's all this is. Paul says, are you good at DIY? Okay, so here's the thing. Depends what you mean by DIY. I can't be trusted with power tools. Can't be. However, I've rewired quite a bit of this house now. So, I haven't exploded yet. All I think I've got to do is continue to not explode. Reckon I'm going to be okay. Now, as regards painting, I'm enjoying it. As regards taking things apart, I'm enjoying that quite a lot. And that's true, Sarah. But I'm a Doctor Who fan. And my favourite Doctor Who, Matt Smith, he had an indoor swimming pool. Admittedly, it was due to a crash. But how am I going to live my dreams? That's all I'm saying. So I wouldn't necessarily call myself good at DIY. If I can pay someone else to do a job, I'm probably going to. But I can't. So we do what we can. Oh, I like it, Matter. KJ, no update on Nakamura. Last we saw, there was, of course, the report from Wade Keller that he was going to be sort of quietly put to one side. This was disproven that night, and since then he's been quietly put to one side. So it seems as though Triple H sort of overcorrected. Jermaine says, any idea what the plan is for Mercedes going forward to All-In AEW pay-per-view? I kind of expect we're going to see Athena versus Mercedes, but I've not been really following that keenly, so I wouldn't be able to say. I know, Cal, I know, mate. Luke says, I haven't exploded yet either, so I'm good at DIY. That's all you got to say. If you haven't personally exploded, then you are good. You are good at this stuff. Yes, Cal, that is very much in the plan. I've recorded quite a lot already of, hi, this is what I've got. Hi, this is what I'm doing. So I've recorded quite a lot of that, including the taking apart of the old office, but it's brief. So you get like 10-second view of that, 10-second view of that. It's going to be a members only video, so I don't have to do retention editing, but also I have a short attention span apparently, and I didn't know. There is no Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal this year, Horror Kingdom. We have been live for just under an hour, 55 minutes now, and we are going to wrap it up there. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone for joining us. We peaked at 133 viewers, so appreciate everyone dropping in, leaving likes, and of course the 3,700 likes on TikTok as well. Thank you to everyone who has joined us. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon. And